We do these from time to time, focus on business. And what we do is we focus on businesses in the Blackstone Valley region, the greater Woonsocket region, sometimes Woonsocket, sometimes businesses that serve the region. John Nagel is with us this morning, and he operates.
Morning, Raj.
Good morning to you. He operates a business called J&D Landscaping and Lawn Care Incorporated. We're going to dig into that business a little bit deeper this morning because I can tell you from personal experience without even interviewing John for a moment that landscaping businesses and people and services and quality of services, oh wow, there's a big range there. So we've got a lot to talk about, John. So welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's begin with this is almost like a funnel. It's open at the top and gets smaller as we go down. So this is going to be one of those general questions. What's different about your company, J&D Landscaping, from most of the other lawn care companies out there? And let me tell you, John, I see there must be like 8 or 9 represented on my street, and I'm saying, well, who's the best?
Absolutely. Well, when it comes to that, Roger, it's pretty much simple. This is my 37th year in business. So with that being said, there's more than enough work out there for landscape lawn care companies to stay busy. The question for the homeowner, and if it's a price-oriented customer, they're looking for a certain type of landscaper. And not to sit there and badmouth or say anything about anyone, but that company is out there. They might not be insured or bonded, etc. They might pay the guys under the table, not on the books, so they can go out there and mow your lawn for a lot less money, etc., etc. Then you have your legit companies that are fully insured, bonded, and the guys are on the books, and they have lots of overhead. They have top-notch equipment. So that's more so for the customer that needs their property taken care of a specific way.
So there is a big difference. And I want to dig in a little bit into that liability. I've always thought about that. These people come on your property, and this is dangerous equipment. I mean, I used to, when I was younger, I used to cut my own lawn. And I'm saying whether it was a rider mower or whether it was just when I pushed along, this can be dangerous, and the chainsaws can be dangerous and so forth. People don't realize that these guys could sue you if you're not bonded in the right way, and so maybe we should talk on that, because this has nothing to do with landscaping. It has to do with something probably more important, the liability and your financial situation.
Absolutely. A quick example of this, I had a customer that was a client of mine for 5 years, and they decided to go with a cheaper company. Long story short, one of the guys was weed whacking. I found out about this about a year and a half later. This is going back about 5-6 years ago, and the guy was coming around the corner with the weed whacker. The other guy was coming around the corner with a mower. He ran over the guy's foot and took some toes off and stuff like that. Homeowner ended up getting sued, etc., because the company didn't have any insurance. So as soon as the customer can just kind of retrain their mind and say it's not really about price. I mean, granted, if you don't care about your property and you just want it cut, that's the we call mow, blow, and go company. But if it's the customer that says, I just want it to look good, whether I spend $1,000 or $5,000, whatever the case may be, end result, you want to see a difference. Just like if you went to a restaurant, you pay good money because you want good food. You want fast food, you pay cheap money. So that's the biggest thing, is just understanding that with the customers, the insurance is so important, and showing the customer a certificate of insurance.
So make sure, and incidentally, when you talk about showing that certificate of insurance, what are you going to look for? Because there are a lot of pieces of paper I could just throw in front of you, and oh yeah, this is my insurance. But I want to make sure that's legit insurance, up-to-date insurance, in-force insurance.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is just look at the certificate dates from where it began to a year later. If you saw today's date or tomorrow's date and the company came out to give you your quote and then showed proof of that, that means they never had insurance, they went out and got it, they're probably going to cancel it as soon as they get the job. Generally, that's commercial, you see that aspect.
We're talking about landscaping today. John Nagel is with us. He operates a company called J&D Landscaping and Lawn Care. And again, we're on our first question. I'm digging in deeper, and that's equipment. I want to talk about equipment because I learned the hard way again from my younger days, buying a cheap. Is the lawn cutting space at 28 inches? Is that one of the standard ones?
No, 3648 is
All right.
standard.
Well, anyway, the point is, the point is that when you get the right equipment to do the job, it's going to take less time and save you as a homeowner money because you guys want to come in and do it right, but you want to get out quickly too, and so equipment is the answer, and having the right equipment, and incidentally knowing how to use it. But let's talk about your equipment.
Sure, absolutely. Well, the biggest thing when we show up, most people, see the trucks and trailers, and obviously, it's a legit company. But equipment is very crucial in today's day and age. So the old school days of growing up doing landscaping, you had the 21-inch push mower, self-propel mower, and a lot of people's mentality is they see these mowers now that are 36, 48, 52, 60. The application for each mower is dependent upon the property you're on. So some people get really alarmed when they see a 52-inch mower on a small lawn. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna think I'm gonna tear it up. But you can tear it up with a self-propelled 28-inch mower if the person doesn't know what he's doing. But the key to this is a lot of these mowers cost anywhere from, again, if you're doing hydros, they cost anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000 a piece. And the reason for that is these are longevity mowers. If you take care of them, they last forever, but it makes you efficient on the lawn so you can make money, because unfortunately in the mowing industry, there's really no profit in the mowing industry. There really isn't. You need top-notch equipment to get you in and out of the lawn as quickly as possible, but do a very efficient professional job.
Are you buying equipment all the time? Yeah.
Oh yeah, every 3-4 years you're reinvesting back into the company, and you pretty much buy top-notch equipment, whether it's lawn care end of it, the hardscape end of it, or the maintenance end of it.
All right, we're going to get into something that you basically touched on toward the end of the answer, as you said. Well, there's basically no money in just cutting lawns, but there are offered by your company J&D lawn care programs where you're not just giving a call to John. I need a cut. There's a program. You've got spring, you've got summer, and you've got fall, and your lawn needs different kinds of attention all in those different seasons. And so I thought maybe you could talk about some of the programs that people can get into so that they really do have a nice looking lawn.
Absolutely. Well, generally when we go out to a client's house, we look at everything that's there. We then listen to the client to what they're trying to achieve, and based on that, we let them know, is it achievable based on what they can put into it. Meaning, it could be watering, obviously the overall expense. If they want to mow it themselves, they have to be educated how to mow it correctly. So with that being said, the lawn care program is we go out to someone's property, again, they're looking for a certain end result. With that end result, it's not just applying a fertilizing product on the lawn, A through G every year, no matter what, like these big box companies do, because they buy all their product in the fall, so save a 5% to 10% discount. And then with that being said, they save themselves some money in the spring, but they put down an application that might be good for a dry condition, but the whole winter was a rainy condition. So that makes no sense, but the homeowner doesn't know that.
Don't you know that?
Yes, and then it's educating your customer so they know that, because I try to make sure my customers, my clients are consumer oriented, because the more knowledge you have, the better. And again, it's your property, it's your money. You want to get the most bang for your buck. So I don't want to see you spend money on something that's absolutely stupid and it's not going to do anything for you. I'd rather see you apply it to where there's going to be a result.
Now, John, do you have like can you go into sit down with somebody and say, this is going to cost you X number of dollars, and that's exactly what it's going to cost them, even though weather conditions change or something like that? This is your price, and we're going to do the job, and we're going to be here just the way I said we'd be there.
Oh, absolutely. What I pretty much try to do with my customers is, it's funny, is you talk to them sometimes like a parent, and because they come to you and, you know, with all this insight, and sometimes they feel they know a lot, and then they want these expectations, and you just listen to them, and then you just smile and say, okay, now what I want you to do is just listen to me, follow me, and understand what I'm trying to do is give you this end result. So do as I say, and you will see the result. But if you don't, this is going to be what you're going to see. So once you start educating them and bringing them on the property and showing them, because I've been out to many properties and I've heard these horror shows what other landscape companies have said what's going on the lawn, or what this grass is, or what this insect is, a disease or whatever, and you're like, okay, diagnosed wrong. If that's diagnosed wrong, this is going to lead to this, and then end result too, as well as they're diagnosing this wrong. What else are they doing with your other landscape maintenance end of it? So it's a science.
John, in your pricing of these lawn care programs, is it wrong to characterize it as good, better, and best? In other words, you have like different categories, or is it basically, you know, you got a lawn,
Yep.
and this is what you got to do? You can't skimp, and you can't really go any better.
Absolutely. So reason why you get a lawn care professional that is licensed and certified is you have product, just like with any other product. You have best, you have middle of the road, and you have low end. So a lot of homeowners might say, hey, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to go to Lowe's, Home Depot, right? It's okay, good run-of-the-mill stuff. But again, if you don't know what's exactly going on in your lawn, if you don't mow it correctly, you don't water it correctly, whatever you're doing is irrelevant then. Then you have middle-of-the-road product, which is a lot of landscape lawn care companies use the low end and the middle of the road to save themselves money. So a lot of them aren't even licensed and certified. Your higher end lawn care companies, and how I'm different is I buy my product in the spring based on what's going on and what happened in the wintertime. And because you know you're going to meet a lot of customers that suffered winter damage, maybe fall damage from the previous year, and you have to jumpstart that lawn to get it going so they see those results quicker. So I'm buying a product based on the current problems going on the lawn when I show up.
John, let's talk about the science of what you do.
Yep.
Because I look on my street and it's basically the same topography, and I have the feeling that the soil might be similar to my but one guy's lawn is brighter than the other, and the other guy's lawn is got a lot of crabgrass in it and so forth, and so there must be some kind of science going on that lawn, and we got to control that to make it look better.
Oh, absolutely. When you go to a customer's lawn in the spring, and again, that some people try to point out, you know, look, his grass is green, or this is going on. One of the first most important things is who is mowing it. If the homeowner is doing it and they want to keep doing it, you got to educate them. If it was a landscape company, most of them, the mow, blow, and go guys, they mow it too short. They have no idea there's a science behind the mowing. They don't sharpen the blades often as much either. As it comes to the problems with, like, people have crabgrass or other weeds going on the lawn, they're not watering correctly. So most people tell you, oh yeah, I water. Okay, where you water? I water for like 15 minutes around noon time, and you're like, oh my God. So there's a correct watering science to water from certain times in the afternoon, certain times early evening, and how much per zone based on shade and sun. So once you start educating the customers and you're talking with them and they're listening, they see as a whole, like, oh my God, this guy's book of knowledge, and he knows what he's talking about. But now they always say the final question is, how much is it going to cost?
Almost sounds like you could mow your lawn too often. Is that the case?
Not. I could say yes and no. So there's some fanatics that want it twice a week, but again, if your blades are sharp and you mow it high enough, you technically could, as long as you do it in different cross patterns, because you can't do it the same way all the time, because the grass will fold over and becomes matted, and that's why you see certain lawns with that certain tire track pushed down, and it never goes away.
I'd like to talk about neighborhood nuisances. In our neighborhood, it's grubs, and that may be universal everywhere. But what are some of the neighborhood nuisances besides crabgrass and grubs?
Oh, okay. Well, last year you had, in regards to grubs, you had chinch bugs, sod webworm damage. The difference between those two is sod webworm and chinch bugs are a surface feeding insect, so they suck the nutrients out of the grass blade. Generally, you see the grass
Did you say chinch bugs?
Chinch bugs.
Okay,
yep.
fine. All
So
right.
what they do is they suck the nutrients out, and what you'll see is the grass go from a green to a lime green to a brown, and you go over and thinking it's grub, and you pull it, and just the top of the grass comes out, like someone's hair falling out. But the root system's still there. Grubs, by the time you see a problem, you get crows or skunks there, and the grass has changed color, and you go to peel it back, and it folds back like a carpet. That's a root feeding insect, so that needs to be treated different. You also had last year, you had brown patch for Syrian blight and dollar spot problems, which is a fungus, which fungus is probably the most one of those things that customers do not understand, and how quickly it can take over your lawn in a matter of days and wipe it out.
Days. I want to not mislead our audience in thinking that landscaping, J&D Landscaping and Lawn Care is about taking care of your grass. They do that. However, there is so much more to landscaping. There's the pruning of the property. There's the mulching that takes place. And one of my big things over the years is the walkways and all that stuff that grows in between that I used to get down on my hands and knees and pull out one by one. 3 days later, they were back. So this is a lawn care program, not just cutting the grass, right?
Absolutely. So again, when you're going out to a client's house, pruning, like you mentioned, Raj, most guys, when I hear this, a guy quoted me, X amount of dollars for the pruning. And I say, okay, so was that for trim and shape, corrective and constructive? And most people look at me like, what are you talking about?
You're talking Greek?
Yeah. So trim and shape is just use gas-powered electric shears, shape it up into a round, to a square, to a rectangle, whatever you have going on. Corrective pruning, rhododendrons, mountain laurels, azaleas, you're using snips. Takes a little bit longer. Constructive ornamental pruning is on any of your ornamental trees. That's like brain surgery. You got to know what you're doing, because you're taking out, thinning the growth, cross branches, shoots. And you got to know, because sometimes you might be using a small chainsaw to take out a branch that has to come out that's been there for 12 years. You make a wrong cut. It's not like, you trim, shape things up, it can grow back. You took 10 years out like that. So you got to know what you're doing. As far as stuff growing in the walkways, the weeds, they have a lot of organic material, because obviously they're concerned with certain pesticides out there in the market. So now they have organic stuff. Doesn't work as quick, but it does the job, because people are very conscious of that stuff today, so you have to address it. But as a whole, it's just educating the homeowner from start to finish what is expected, what is the end result, and you educate them on every facet. Most of the time they find out their landscape company never addressed it, never did it, et cetera, et cetera.
This program is more about lawn science. It is about landscaping and lawn care. And so I'm going to talk about one other aspect. Where they in the medical field now, they're replacing knees, and they're replacing bones here and there. Sometimes I have been told that we need to completely replace our lawn. It is so bad that the whole thing. Do you do that?
Oh yeah,
Right. And does that happen often?
Absolutely. That's a great subject to touch on. I pretty much don't do really any work today for builders. I mean, way back in the day, I had FAF. A lot of these major companies, they're like, John, we love what you do. We want to give you, 30, 50 houses. I used to do lots of commercial properties, Walmarts. The big thing is understanding what is underneath your lawn. So when I go out to these new homes, sometimes I've been out to these homes that are, anywhere from $750 to $1.7 million. And the house is beautiful, but the landscape is awful. So they ask you, John, can you like hydro seed, or can you just aerate and seed? And I look at them, I'm like, well, not really. And they're like, why? I said, well, because what you have here for soil. They're like, yeah, but can't you just go over that? I said, no. What you have here for soil is great for a base. Sometimes I go out to customers' lawn, what they got there for soil will be a sub base. So generally you want a mix of sandy clay. You want a good structural base, and then your sub base, you want a sandy clay, and then on top of that, we generally try to go with 4 to 6 inches of organic compost loam. There's not a rock in it. So when we compact that, and then we seed and put a fert in with it, and then reseed again, blend it all in, we know the end result, you're going to get a great lawn. Now, if you were to cut your lawn like a piece of cake from the side, when you do this the correct way, what you're allowing is the root system to get as deep as possible in your lawn through all that organic loam into the sandy clay base, and then it's not going to reach the sub base, which that's just to create the structure of the base of the lawn. So with that being said, the end result, the deeper the root system, the stronger the grass blade, the less susceptible it is to insects, disease, drought, etc., etc. End result, you're going to have a beautiful lawn where these companies come in and they rip out all the good soil, they sell it, and they bring in the crapola and they hydro seed it, and then you move in, you're like, what the hell?
All right, so this is something to be careful of. As somebody talked about this, it requires a little more research and explanation before you make the move.
Yep.
We've covered a lot of material, but John has been doing this for a long, long time. So, and I learned about chinch bugs today. Right? You got to have a takeaway from everything, right?
Hey, absolutely right.
I'll be looking for them this spring. Anyway, if you want to contact John's company, how do they do it?
Absolutely. They can do one of two ways. They can go to my website, www.jdhomecare.com. That is www.jdhomecare.com, or they can call 401-567-8974.
And actually, there are much more important takeaways from this program, other than chinch bugs. Number one is that your lawn is really a scientific lab, and it requires somebody who understands the chemistry of lawn science.
Yep.
Number two, you can get into different programs. As you mentioned a good point. Some people, they have a beautiful home, they have an ugly lawn, and that's okay with them.
Yeah.
They just want their grass cut.
Yeah.
Some of them say, I want my lawn to be as beautiful as my house. So you have lawn care programs that will address that.
Absolutely.
Based on what you want.
Yep.
I mean, it's your property.
Yep.
And then the first thing that John told us this morning is that just because they have so-and-so ABC lawn care and landscaping, this industry has got a big variation. It's A to Z when it comes to the level of services, professionalism, equipment, and liability, and all that stuff. I learned a lot.
Yep. Yep.
All right. The name of the company again is J&D Landscaping. They're based in Burrillville. They serve. You go all over the place, right?
Yeah. Generally, we serve pretty much. I'm gonna say Rentham, Bellingham, Blackstone, all of Rhode Island, and we also do Eastern Connecticut as well.
John Nagel, always a pleasure chatting with you about one of your businesses, and we'll do it again sometime real soon, okay?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. And that concludes our focus on business here on WNRI.